Hello everyone, my name is Silver Contrails, and today we are checking out the Shaders mod and all its different components in another Mod Mayhem video. I happen to be playing on a server running the Magicality mod pack that's part of the AT launcher, but you can get these shaders on anything that's running Forge, including vanilla Minecraft, as long as you have Forge included, and you're simply following the installation directions, which is pretty... I guess it's straightforward. I've had some issues installing it in the past, but there's a really great link. I'll link you to it, and if you follow that, it'll be in the description. It makes things a lot easier, so that's nice. Where do we begin? Let's see. Shaders. So if we pop open our menu in here, you're going to need Optifine for this. So if we go into our video settings, you can see that I've got Optifine. And if you go into shaders, you have all these different selections for shaders. Any that you happen to install in your shader directory, which is a folder that you'll put in your Minecraft directory. And then the shaders mod can pull from that directory. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of cool ones in here. I'm running this V4-low one. I have no idea if some guy named V4 makes it or something like that. Let me pop up my GUI here. And we can go ahead and look around. You can see that the tall grass is slightly swaying, as if being blown along by the breeze, and I believe this stuff sways as well. Yep. And then I think this one makes the trees move, or it might not be. Yes, it does. So it's got this really odd effect where the trees seem to be moving. A little graphical glitch there. But otherwise, it does look really cool. It adds some really cool shadows. You can start to see it a lot better when I move in behind things. You can kind of see how the shadows are laying out. But there's also a fair amount of graphical glitches. But oh, that is really cool. I do like how the sun interacts with objects in the world. Shadows are kind of interesting. In shader packs I've used way in the past, they've had an issue where they don't really load correctly, or they flicker a lot because they're changing as the sun moves. So they're actually moving along with the sun. And there's actually a setting within the shaders that causes shadow, or clouds actually, to cast a shadow. So if I put this on, the cloud up here will cast a shadow. I don't know if I can get maybe behind it, but I don't really like that setting. It's kind of weird. And I just like the vanilla setting. Obviously, shaders do tax your system quite a bit. They're very GPU intensive, so they're going to tax your graphics card a lot more than regular Minecraft is. Minecraft is mostly RAM and CPU, but shaders are pretty much entirely GPU, so that's something to keep an eye out for. Let's see, what else do we have? We have a lot of options here, so we can change things around, but I do want to go look at a large body of water, and I don't even know if I have one around here. Let's see. Oh, here's one. This would be good enough. So if we can check out the water, there's a little bit of a sort of a wave effect, which is pretty cool looking. I think so anyways. And there's also, on some of the other shaders, very, very cool effects. So let's jump to this guy's shaders for a second. No, I don't like his shaders. Never mind. Let's try out the ultra compatible shaders. So this one's got a much more intense bloom. Very, very strong appearance for this bloom, and the water is very, very bright. Not really the best though. Let's see, what is... This preview was pretty good when I looked at it last. I kind of liked how it looked. It has a blue hue, but you can also see excuse me. You can also see that there is a reflection in the water, which is pretty neat. You can see the sun clearly, but you can also see like the trees, the sand, the sheep is in the water. Very, very cool effect. It does, you know, if you can just look at this scene right here forever. It's very, very nice looking. But on these packs, I think the bloom is a lot stronger than it should be. It's like if you go out into the direct sunlight, you're gonna get vaporized or something. It's so bright. This one doesn't have the moving trees though. That's kind of neat. I don't know if I like the moving trees. Kind of weird. The downside... Oh, this is a different torch. The downside to these shader packs is I don't think they look very good indoors. So let's switch back to that first shader. I think I like this one the best. And I think I like it mostly because it still looks a lot like regular Minecraft. So if we jump underground, we can see that it is, you know, creating some light. Let me get some torches. It is definitely creating some light, but how much light it creates and how the light gets cast changes from shader to shader, and sometimes it's not preferable. Let's see. This guy, his really lags me, so I'm not going to put on those. So this shader gives you this orange effect, and I don't really know if I like it. It kind of makes sense given that there are these fiery torches giving off the light. So if I come up here, it's really bright outside, white light. But if I go down here, it's all this yellow-orange light, and it's kind of very, very dark in here. You can put a torch down. The other thing that's kind of odd with shaders is that they don't extend the light very far. So if I put this on the back wall, it sort of just brightens everything up around it. It doesn't seem to come necessarily from the torch itself. If I put on low, this is an interesting effect. That shouldn't be happening. Okay, there we go. And then if I turn it off, yeah, it's a lot brighter down here. That's good. But yeah, so the shader mods I think are cool. They're definitely tough to run. I'm only running it on a mod pack pretty much because this one comes with Optifine automatically installed, Magicality. And it's not very resource intensive. And it's running on a server, which helps your frame rate a lot. So I'm getting about 60 FPS while recording. So it's really nice for me. But if your computer isn't up to it, I wouldn't necessarily, go for that. So this is just, default. And again, the other big downside is that you can't run it on fancy. I guess you can, but it causes some weird issues. Internal shaders doesn't seem to make it default anymore. I put on low again. So this definitely reduces my frame rate a lot. Switching back to fast, I'm getting 60 again. But if I switch over to fancy, I drop down to about 30. So it's about a 30 FPS difference. But definitely not unplayable either. So if you really like fancy, this is pretty cool. But there are some weird glitches. Here's a node. I can see it very, very clearly. Normally you can't. But I don't know how you can pass up that sort of visibility, or that sort of scenery. It does look really good, and that I appreciate, at least above ground. Once you go below ground, things look a little odd. But yeah, we'll take a break here, and I'll come back, and we'll look at how it looks at night, because that should be pretty fun. So this is what shaders look like at night, and it's pretty cool. The moon is definitely pretty bright, but you can definitely make out, the difference with the torches not seeming to give off a whole lot of light in this case, or a lot less. Their effect seems to be reduced, even if they're not actually, they're not actually giving off less light given to the game, but they're shown to give off what seems like less light. So if we switch over to the preview shader, which is probably the second favorite I have. It's really dark. I don't even know if you guys can see this. So put down a torch. I think they look cool, but I don't know. It's a very dramatic effect. There's a lot more contrast here, which could be cool to some people. I mean, look how this thing looks just like evil, but also really cool. So I don't know. There's a lot of mobs around. Oh boy. I have not tried out the nether yet, but I may have to later. I think for now I'll leave it be. But yeah, that's about it for the shaders mod. Again, there's a link in the description. So if you put off putting on shaders until now, definitely recommend it. It's pretty fun. So yeah, thanks for watching. I gotta kill all these mobs. And until next time then.